You're an artist. For the sake of this video, you're an artist. Be an artist, even if you're not. But you're an artist, okay? You're an artist, right? Your taste doesn't matter. Your taste in your own work does not matter at all. Your opinions on your own work doesn't matter at all. And from the smallest things to the biggest thing, your favorite painting you ever made doesn't matter. That video you made yesterday that you thought wasn't good enough to upload doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. Nothing that you think matters. And this is one of the hardest things to come to terms with as an artist, but one of the most prominent lessons that I've learned this year. This year, in doing this series daily, I've learned a lot of different lessons, right? Of course, I'll make one of these, make one eventually, a video of all the lessons I've learned from this series. I don't know why I said that sentence like backwards order. I'll make one eventually with the lessons I learned from the series. Probably for the 365th episode, that's what it'll be, right? 1 year straight of doing it. I'll probably do something like that. But the biggest lesson I've learned, right? And the one I think deserves a video right now because it's important and also like very like a simple fact, you know, it's a very simple statement that I think is important to understand if you're an artist or anybody creating anything. What you think is good and bad in your own work exclusive. I'm not saying your taste doesn't matter. Of course, you know, you have your own taste in movies and music, and that's all great. I'm not saying that stuff doesn't matter. Your taste in your own work is, I don't know if it's wrong, but based on what everybody else thinks, it really seems to be. And this is the hardest lesson I've come to terms with, right? And it's honestly something that's gotten me to stop putting effort into the work in the same way I used to, right? I know that's gonna sound really weird, but I mean it in a very endearing way. I mean this is a freeing thing, right? Because for a while, there's sort of a temptation when you realize this to be like, no, I'm gonna make something that blows everybody away. And you can, like oftentimes you can do something where like, if you put more effort into something, yeah, it might do better. People might like it more, right? But that doesn't change the fact that that thing you hate, somebody loves it. And I want to go into what I mean here. I mean this in two ways, two very, very specific, very easy ways. First of all is numbers. Numbers I'm going to discuss first because it's the easiest, it's the simplest. And I know as artists, we all love to imagine that the numbers don't matter to us. You know, and to an extent they don't, but we're in the social media age. They also do to an extent, right? They have to. If you care about the stuff you're putting into work, the stuff you're putting into your work, you want it to do well, like in some regard, right? And oftentimes in the age we're in nowadays, that means getting a good number on social media, you know, whatever that number may be for you. I myself try not to focus on that too much. You know, I don't look at the results of everything I post. I think it's pretty bad to like focus too much on it, but I'm not gonna lie, when something does well and I notice that, that's awesome. It's an awesome feeling, right? When you complete, every time that I've ever completed something, this is a rule without exception. One exception. There was one exception that I'll get into because it's kind of interesting. Every time I've finished something and gone, this is a good idea. This is a good title. This is a good thumbnail. This is a good, maybe painting. This is a good painting, you know, in one of these. Nope, nothing happens. It is without fail. And honestly, at this point, this is like way too psychologically revealing to say maybe, but it's become like a superstition of mine. Like the second I finish one of these and I go, that was great, I'm like, all right, well, so nobody's gonna watch this. It's like, to me, it's like, if I like something too much, it's almost like I view it as a curse on my own work. I know that's really weird, and like I said, perhaps way too psychologically revealing, but I truly do. Because this pattern is unignorable. Every time I have finished something that I've liked of my own work, I don't want to say flops, you know, just it doesn't do nearly as well as every time you think you're there, you are way further. Like, it's almost like, listen, I'm not going to say I believe in some like universal cosmic law here, right? But if I were to pitch one that I think could possibly exist, it would be this. Not how they have the thing of like, when you stop caring, that's when you're going to succeed. Don't know if that's true. Haven't stopped caring yet. I'll update if that ever happens. Maybe I'll, you know, make $1 million that day. I'm sure we've all heard this idea. Like the second you want to quit, the second you let go, you're going to succeed, right? I have experienced maybe the inverse of that the harder you hold on to something, just the worse it's going to do. Not even hold on to it in terms of like being a perfectionist. Just like the more you care about something you just made, the worse it's going to do. In my experience, this is on the internet, you know, this doesn't have to do with real life, right? And a very inverse effect has occurred with people's tastes in the work, right? Before I get into taste, which is the second element of this, I do want to just like tell a little story about the one exception I've had to this. I made a video on comparing Chief Keef's Love Sosa, that song, to Michelangelo's David. And after I finished, I was like, yeah, this is the best thing I've ever made. This was a year and a half ago at this point, I want to say. So like, it was the best thing I ever made at that point. I'm not going to say I love the video nowadays. I'll probably re-upload it someday, just because it is something that I think it's an important part of this sounds so self-indulgent to say. I do think it's kind of an important part of like my growth as a creator or whatever, as an artist. So I would like to have it out there one day again. But I remember finishing that and I was like, this is like definitely the best thing I ever made. And I uploaded it and I was so proud of it that I sent it to like 2 friends who had never seen my videos before. I was like, hey, like you should check this out. Or like, you know, honestly, I think I was probably too, if I'm being 100% honest, I think I was probably too like scared to be like, I like this thing I just made. Again, I feel like I was a million years younger, even though it was only a year ago. I was scared to be like, I like this thing I just made. I would like if you would watch it. So I think I disguised it as like, I think I was like, I hate this video I just made. Like, I would love your notes on how I could make this better. Or maybe I didn't say I hated it, but I was just like, I would love your notes on how I could improve this. They had no notes, you know, because I really just want to show them the video. But that video is the one exception. That did very well. Unfortunately, is probably the biggest thing I've ever done on the internet, which is very sad to say. Actually, I guess this series would be bigger. Like, the series as a whole would be bigger than that one video. But I mean, you know, 320 episodes to one. It's like, we're dealing with some crazy ratios here. But that is the one exception I've had, right? And maybe, you know, I guess you could say, in some, if you want to extrapolate some lesson from that, there will be moments where you're just right about your own work, right? That's obviously going to happen. However, I'm not going to tell you that as like a, you know, you should take a lesson out of that, because I truly don't think you should. I don't think there's a lesson in that. I think that was just luck. I think I just had a lucky moment there. I thought it was good and other people liked it too, and it did well, right? Other than that, there is not another moment where I liked my own work and other people were, not even other people liking it, the algorithm liking it enough for it to do extremely well, right? The second place that I want to say this is very real, in my experience, is tastes, right? People's taste in your work, which I'm going to go on a limb here and argue, and many would disagree with this. I think the cynical amongst us would probably disagree, that I think people's taste in your work is like exponentially more important than any sort of actual success that the thing has on the internet, right? I do. This is a big take of mine. I just think that, like, you know, numbers are great, but I do think that people just being like, I like this thing is way better. Like, I think that's, because like, I think a great example of this is somebody who's like a really big YouTuber. Like, I'll use Mr. Beast's example, right? Maybe it's because I'm not hanging around 6-year-olds. This is great proof of that. I've never been in a room where somebody's like, man, I think the new Mr. Beast video is awesome, you know? And like, people aren't, you know, he's somebody that people watch and he does well, but I wouldn't say there's passion around what he does with any sort of audience that's older. And, you know, I mean, to an extent, it's just not for some people. But I do think that, like, we're going into an era where things are going to be more important, not in terms of how much people like the thing, or not in terms of how much people watch the thing, but genuinely is how much people like it, right? Sort of back to how it was before the internet kind of ruled everything. I think that's kind of coming back, because I think people are tired of having algorithms just super dictating. I don't know what form this is going to take, and this take of mine is really based on absolutely nothing. It's more of just a gut thing that, like, in my own circles of people I talk to, they're all sick of having stuff be shoved in their face they don't really like, right? So I'm going to go on a limb and say I believe this, right? So in that vein, people's tastes. In my work, in that I've experienced, and I have many friends who have experienced similar things to this, that thing, the painting you just made, or the song you just wrote, or the book you just finished, that you think is your favorite thing you've ever done, that you're like, this is the best thing I've ever done, and when I release it, everybody's going to agree with that. Once again, I'm not going to say never. I'm not stupid enough to be like, that is unrealistic and will never happen, right? I don't think that's true. Maybe you're completely right and people will see that thing you just made and go, this is your best thing, right? However, in my experience, man, does that not happen. It's actually the stuff that you hate the most that people go, yeah, this is like my favorite thing ever. And it's an annoying side. And the reason I'm here talking about this is because this is the thing that annoyed me for a while. Like, it was almost like, you know, I think it's a very normal reaction to have, that when you're the one making something, you view yourself as having like this like monopoly on the taste of it, right? Like, no, I made that thing. I know it's bad. I know that this is bad, and whatever you say cannot be more correct than me, the guy that made it, right? That's a normal thing, I think, to think. It makes complete sense to be like, no, I made this thing. I know it better than you. I know my way around my own work better than a random guy who sees it. So of course, I'm correct. This is bad, and you're wrong. Very normal reaction to have. Unfortunately, never in a million years is that going to be like just functionally true, right? People are always going to give their own thoughts, and they're always going to be vastly different from yours. And what you see as the imperfections where you're like, this is terrible, you might have the most informed perspective on your own work. That's undeniable. I mean, whoever's making their own work, they're going to have the most informed perspective. This is like just an objective fact. However, you will always have your perspective is going to be so involved, they're going to be missing the forest for the trees, right? Like something about this painting that I really hate so far, right? Talking here as I'm making it. I don't like this shadow. I think that tonally it is weird looking in comparison to the brown, right? I think it kind of messes up the painting a little bit, and I like the cherries, but I hate the shadow, right? I know that because in my head, I was like, I want this to be sort of a brown tone, and now that it's not that, I'm like, this is bad, right? Other people who are watching this right now, who, you know, are just kind of watching along, maybe it's in the background as they do the dishes, they'll come back to this painting, you know, maybe they'll see it later, and they're just gonna go, half of them will go, oh, whatever, and then like, for some reason, a bunch of people are gonna be like, that shadow is amazing. I love that shadow. Your mistakes are what other people are gonna see as strengths in all your work. This is at least a common theme that I've noticed, right? There is no such thing as a mistake because somebody will like it, right? Not that that should matter, but I mean, if it makes you feel better, that's how I look at it, right? So every time that you make something, this is the conclusion of all this. I do want to bring this to a head here. I'm not just saying this to complain, it's not even a complaint, because I think I've come to the conclusion after a year of sort of grappling with this. Grappling's not even the right word, just like noticing this. It's free. That when you make something and you're like, this is bad, I can't put it out, it's gonna be someone's favorite thing. When you make something and you're like, man, this is the best thing ever, still put it out, because that's awesome. You should be confident in your own work. Don't expect anything though, like, you know, lower those expectations. And I think overall, and this is the lesson that these videos always come to, just do, you know, just do. Just keep working, just keep making things. Eventually, you'll have something that goes out that people are like, this is the best thing ever, and you'll agree, this is the best thing I've ever done. Eventually, you'll be like, this is terrible, and everyone will go, yeah, this is terrible, and you're like, I shouldn't have posted that. Like, eventually, all these things are gonna happen. But in the meantime, just understand you can't predict any of it, and just keep doing, and just let it take you where it takes you, you know? Surrender to that work. This is the painting. I kind of already gave my thoughts on it as I was doing it, about the shadow ruining it, but I do like the cherries. I think the cherries are blended pretty nice. I think this should be a little longer, you know, like I feel like that should work a little better. But hey, I think this is cool. I'll probably do another cherry tomorrow. You know, I know there's been talk around about bell peppers and how bell peppers are also a type of pepper that I could be doing because they're also red. I'll be honest, guys. Bell peppers are very complicated peppers. They're not easy to paint. Man, I mean, listen, will I try it? Probably not. Probably too cowardly, but I just want you to know that I'm aware and I am avoiding them. Go check us out on the TikTok and the Instagram. If you want to support the show, you can do that by subscribing to the Substack in the description below. And until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Tice. This is Paint and Talk episode 321. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.